I couldn't be bothered to like fight. Like he loves the whole back and forth. That's what the whole boxing stuff's about. Like I get it. I understand it. But it was funnier to not feed into it because
it's exhausting.
You just watch it happen. It was fun. I think some of it as well was interesting where I think he thought like it was all my fans going for him when actually I don't
it was
think
his
that
fans.
was the case.
No, it was the internet.
It was funny as well. My wife was always like, just think before you tweet. That was one time I didn't really think too much before tweeting. Usually I'll type it out and be like, no, I can't bother, delete it. So then I didn't tell her for like 3 days, and she's not on Twitter really. So I didn't tell and then I kept getting notifications from my phone. I was like, oh, Logan Paul's responded. Jimmy's messaged you. KSI's responded. I was like, well, I'm gonna have to mention something now. She was like, oh, well, I agree with you, but maybe you should just not stoke the fire anymore. I was like, okay, that's fair. It's one of them moments where I was like, oh no, it's actually getting out of
DanTDM saw the warning signs back in 2024, and Jacksepticeye publicly agreed with him. Since then, many people have pointed to KSI's actions over the next 2 years as evidence that their concerns weren't baseless. So what did these two longtime YouTube creators notice before a lot of viewers started asking the same questions? It all started when Lunchly launched on September 16th, 2024. KSI, Logan Paul, and Mr. Beast introduced Lunchly, a line of pre-packed meal kits for kids that was promoted as a healthier alternative to Lunchables. But plenty of critics quickly compared the nutrition labels and argued the differences were pretty small. To many people, it looked more like a rebranded Lunchable with a little extra protein and a massive marketing push behind it.
With Lunchly, you get double the amount of liquid.
Prime has no sugar added, more electrolytes, and more B vitamins.
Crunch Bar.
Whoa.
Feastables Crunch Bar.
Yeah!
Our pizza uses real cheese. Theirs, as it says on their box, is mozzarella pasteurized prepared cheese product. They can't even call it real cheese.
Ooh. Drip versus
The internet reacted almost instantly. Then DanTDM, a creator with nearly 30 million subscribers who built his reputation around family-friendly content, posted a single tweet that completely changed the conversation. He argued that the product seemed to be about making money first, saying it didn't offer much benefit for buyers and questioning whether it was right to market products like this to a young audience that trusted the creators behind them. Within hours, the post had gone viral, and the criticism spread across YouTube and social media at an incredible pace. Instead of letting the debate cool down, KSI answered with weeks of responses that drew even more attention than the original criticism. That stretch included a 20-minute video defending himself, a Munch Pack comparison, criticism of Dan's old 2014 toy line, a tweet containing an insult that was later deleted, a fake apology link that redirected people to promote his new song, and later comments on Impulsive where he said parts of the back and forth were intended to generate attention for his music. As the drama kept growing, many viewers felt the responses only made the situation even bigger. Meanwhile, Dan didn't keep the argument going at all. He stayed quiet, carried on making his usual content, and largely let the public reaction speak for itself while the controversy continued around KSI. Dan seemed to recognize that continuing the back and forth would only keep the story in the spotlight and bring even more attention to everything surrounding it, including KSI's music. Instead of jumping into the argument, he chose not to respond at all. Months later, when the topic finally came up on a podcast, he summed up his approach with one simple line, saying it was simply funnier not to engage with any of it. That brief comment ended up saying more than a long response ever could. As the public debate continued for weeks, Dan stayed focused on his normal content and didn't add to the drama. Many viewers felt that contrast stood out on its own. Without another exchange or response video, people drew their own conclusions about how each creator handled the situation, and for many, Dan's restraint became one of the biggest talking points of the entire controversy.
Looks like crap to me while showing his toys that he sold to kids. How does this benefit your fans, Dan? Now, obviously, people didn't realize that I was shining a mirror in his face. Instead, they were like,
wait, you did the same as Dan. You made toys with Tube Heroes.
And yes, that's fair, but I'm not the one complaining.
Well, okay then. He was talking about food, not merchandise and toys.
And I'm like, okay, sure. Let's keep moving the goalposts. But okay, did I reply to this? He was sponsored, then promoted, and made a whole video on Munch Pack, a monthly sub box full of food and candy to his Minecraft audience full of kids. Now,
Jacksepticeye getting involved added a whole new layer to the story. With more than 31 million subscribers and a career that goes back to YouTube's early days alongside creators like Markiplier and PewDiePie, he's not known for jumping into creator disputes or chasing attention through online drama. His reputation has long been built on staying focused, making videos, and only speaking up when he feels something actually matters. That's exactly why his comments caught so much attention. When Jack publicly said that messing with DanTDM was messing with YouTube itself, the statement spread quickly because it came from someone who rarely weighs in on these kinds of situations. For many viewers, his words carried extra weight because they saw him as one of the platform's most established and respected creators. More importantly, this wasn't a new opinion from Jacksepticeye at all. Around a year before Lunchly was even announced, he had already shared similar concerns on a podcast. He argued that YouTube had gradually shifted away from being driven mainly by creativity and enjoyment, becoming much more focused on views, money, and popularity above everything else. Jack also questioned the growing trend of creators adopting MrBeast-style formats, suggesting that the platform was moving in a direction he found uncomfortable, both for creators making content and for the audiences watching it. By 2026, many viewers felt KSI had become the kind of creator Jacksepticeye had been warning about. After stepping back from regular sideman commitments with friends he had worked alongside for more than a decade, KSI said he wanted to focus on larger-scale challenge videos similar to the style made popular by creators like MrBeast. The goal appeared to be reaching even bigger audiences and competing at the highest level on the platform.
I'll be honest about that and be like, yeah, I don't like the videos. And then it was like, do you think he ruined YouTube? And I said yes, which, I mean, I don't really think MrBeast ruined YouTube. By saying that, I mean, I think everybody that copies him is kind of putting YouTube in like a weird spot. And if anything, YouTube have ruined their own platform, not MrBeast outwards.
Now, Jack, a completely unrelated question. Do you like MrBeast? No. Jack, do you think MrBeast ruined YouTube? Yes. Now, in all honesty, Jack, why? Because it became more about views, money, and popularity than it did about having fun.
In interviews, KSI spoke in detail about subscriber numbers and monthly view counts, comparing top creators like MrBeast and iShowSpeed while discussing the milestones he hoped to reach. He even outlined who he wanted to catch up to and the order he aimed to do it, making it clear that growth and competition were major priorities for him. Because of that, some critics questioned whether this was mainly about stepping away for a healthier balance, or whether it reflected a calculated shift toward bigger, more competitive content. Others accepted KSI's explanation at face value, but the contrast became another major point of debate among fans and commentators. Many people now argue that the concerns Jacksepticeye raised before Lunchly even existed seem to line up with choices KSI made in the years that followed. Whether you agree with that view or not, it's a comparison that comes up again and again. But to understand why some people see a larger pattern, you have to go back even further than Lunchly. A Vicstar interview that went viral in late 2024 brought an older story back into the spotlight and gave many viewers a new way to look at what happened afterward. According to Vicstar's account, during the height of the crypto and NFT boom, when many online creators were exploring projects in that space, KSI presented the Sidemen with a detailed proposal to launch their own NFT collection aimed at their audience. The story stood out because it offered a rare behind-the-scenes look at internal discussions within one of YouTube's biggest groups, and for many fans, it added another piece to the broader conversation about the group's direction and business decisions. According to Vicstar's retelling, KSI's proposal didn't place much emphasis on what could happen if fans ended up losing money. Vicstar said he was concerned enough that he created a detailed counter-presentation to argue against moving forward with the NFT project. In his version of events, he believed launching it could have caused long-term damage to the Sidemen's reputation and the trust they had built with their audience. For many people, that story echoed the same concerns DanTDM and Jacksepticeye later raised about parts of the creator economy. Their criticism centered on the idea that some creators were becoming too focused on turning their audiences into customers instead of putting the community first. Whether or not people agree with that comparison, it's one reason the clip attracted so much attention after it resurfaced. Then there's Logan Paul's CryptoZoo project, which adds another layer to the discussion around loyalty and accountability.
I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I had to keep up with a persona that was just so taxing on me and my general well-being, to be honest. And I don't know, but in my opinion, YouTube has changed a lot. I don't believe it's about the you in YouTube anymore. Gone are the days where people would just make videos for fun. Now it's all about people making videos for monetary gain. YouTubers now have directors, editors, cameramen, and other things to help them out. Whereas before, it was only the YouTuber that would do that themselves. That essentially is the game right now. That is the YouTube game. That's how you remain relevant nowadays. And personally, I just don't want to be a part of that game anymore. From now on, I'm going to be making content that I want to put up. I just hated how YouTube became like a chore for me, having to always keep up with these bullshit trends and shit. I started making videos because that's what I wanted to do. Like from the beginning, it was just fun for me. I just enjoyed doing it. So I feel like I want to end doing videos that I want to do rather than doing videos that people want me to do. I'm trying to compete with Jimmy, Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
And he gets about 4 billion every month in shorts and about 600 million long form. I mentioned Sidemen Boys, I'm gonna get more subscribers than Sidemen, and I'm also gonna get more views than Sidemen. So I got more views than Sidemen in a month. So now I just need to get more subscribers. Yeah. And then it's just keep it up. And then it's like, all right, cool. I'm looking at Speed now. I need to try and get more views than Speed. And then after Speed, who's next? Yeah. Until I get to Jimmy. And then it's like, yeah, me and Jimmy going back to back.
CryptoZoo became one of YouTube's most widely reported crypto controversies, with many buyers saying the project failed to deliver on expectations. The situation led to extensive public criticism, multiple responses from Logan Paul, and ongoing debate about influencer responsibility. For critics, KSI's continued partnership with Logan despite that controversy has made his public messaging about loyalty and principles harder to reconcile with the standards he has applied in other situations. Fans were told CryptoZoo would become a fully functioning game, and many expected it to provide value based on those promises. Instead, the project became the center of major controversy after buyers said it failed to deliver as expected. A refund program was later introduced, but it covered only certain claims under specific conditions, and some critics objected to the requirement that participants release future legal claims in exchange for compensation. Those details became a major source of public debate. CoffeeZilla documented the controversy across a series of widely watched investigative videos, bringing even more attention to the situation. During that period, KSI publicly defended Logan Paul, posting messages that questioned the criticism and later saying he would continue to support his friends and give them the benefit of the doubt. For many viewers, that stance became another flashpoint in the broader discussion about accountability, loyalty, and how creators respond when close collaborators face serious public criticism. Critics of the CryptoZoo resolution argued that the compensation offered represented only a small portion of what some participants believed they had lost. They also pointed to the legal release attached to the program, saying it asked people to give up future legal claims in exchange for partial compensation. Those terms became one of the biggest points of looking at everything together. Critics point to a series of controversies that they believe form a larger pattern. They cite Vicstar's account of the proposed Sidemen NFT project, KSI's public support of Logan Paul during the CryptoZoo controversy, while many participants were still seeking answers, criticism surrounding Lunchly's marketing and reports of mold in some products, KSI's decision to step back from the Sidemen, and the later tabloid story that some believe portrayed the group unfairly. Supporters of KSI see these events differently, but together they have fueled an ongoing debate about his priorities. For those critics, the issue isn't any single controversy on its own. They argue it's the repeated appearance of similar themes across very different situations over several years. Whether that's a fair conclusion remains a matter of opinion, but it's the argument that has gained traction among many longtime viewers. That's also why creators like DanTDM and Jacksepticeye are often brought into the conversation. Their criticism was never that creators shouldn't earn money from their work. Both have sold merchandise, worked with sponsors, and built successful businesses around their channels. The distinction, according to their supporters, is that the videos and community always came first, while the business side grew around the content instead of becoming its main purpose. Dan spent years building his audience through Minecraft videos before later releasing a small toy line. Jacksepticeye built his channel with simple gaming videos and a basic webcam, focusing first on entertaining viewers and growing a community that connected with his personality and enthusiasm for creating content. For DanTDM and Jacksepticeye's supporters, the key difference has never been whether creators make money. It's what comes first. In their view, the content should be the main reason people watch, while merchandise, sponsorships, and other business ventures should grow naturally from that audience. Critics argue that some of today's biggest creator brands, including ventures involving KSI, Logan Paul, and Mr. Beast, reflect a different approach, where products and business opportunities play a much larger role in the overall strategy. From that perspective, the videos become more than entertainment. They also serve as a way to introduce products, partnerships, and new revenue streams. Critics have also questioned whether younger audiences are especially affected because they're often the most engaged and the most likely to trust the creators they follow. Supporters of those creators, however, would argue that launching products is a normal part of running a modern media business.
Has there ever been something that's gone so far down the line and then last minute you've got, this just isn't going to work, we need to sack this? NFTs.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
This was KSI in his KSI crypto era, and we got this big shiny presentation for the Sidemen NFTs, one of 10,000.
Wow.
And NFT projects, especially back then, were like, launch the NFT project, make $20 million that day. What happens afterwards? Everyone should make money, but if they don't, who cares? You made 20 mil. And we had this big, like, deck. And, like, JJ thought it was the best idea. And then the other guys were, like, unsure. And I was like, I will not let this happen. So I had to, like, do a detailed breakdown of every reason why I thought it was a bad idea. So I was like, I want to kill this dead now because I do not want there to be a Sidemen NFT.
Yeah.
I do not ever want to make millions of dollars at the direct expense of fans getting nothing for it. A useless token online. And also with the way we've got a bunch of businesses, like if you effectively scam people or like fuck them over with one business, everything else loses credibility.
That's the distinction many people believe Dan and Jack were trying to highlight in different ways. Jack warned that YouTube's growing focus on scale, competition, and business could change the platform's culture, while Dan called for creators to do better when promoting products to their audiences. Since then, critics have pointed to KSI's later decisions as reinforcing those concerns, arguing that the controversies surrounding him made those earlier warnings feel even more relevant to a growing number of viewers. Criticism surrounding the entire controversy, and many affected users said they felt frustrated by how the situation was handled. For those critics, KSI's public support of Logan Paul during that period became difficult to reconcile with his positions in other controversies. They also point to later reports that KSI was linked to anonymously sourced negative tabloid coverage about the Sidemen after deciding to step back from the group. While the circumstances around those reports have been disputed, the sequence of events led many viewers to question the consistency of his public messaging about loyalty and friendship. In 2026, the Daily Mirror published a report citing unnamed sources that claimed some Sidemen members had been privately relieved after KSI's loss to Tommy Fury because it could mean he would have more time for group content. The article also claimed KSI had become increasingly distant from the group before his departure and hadn't received a proper send-off. Because the sourcing was anonymous, the report immediately became the subject of debate among fans. Critics argued that the story painted KSI in a more sympathetic light while casting the rest of the Sidemen in a negative way.
If you ask me, I think KSI tried to use his influence to move the market for himself in crypto through a few pump and dumps. He may have lost all his money eventually in a Ponzi scheme, but that does not make what he did okay. In fact, I think it's fair to say that a lot of his followers, we saw that, he influenced millions of dollars in trading volume, went into some coins that are now doing very poorly. But ultimately, I think the true piece of cosmic irony for KSI here, though, is that he would have gotten away with all of this. No one would have known about any of it if he just hadn't logged back into Twitter.
At the same time, others question how much weight should be given to claims based on unnamed sources. For people already comparing KSI's public support of Logan Paul during the CryptoZoo controversy with his relationship with the Sidemen, the article added another talking point in the ongoing discussion about loyalty, consistency, and how public narratives are shaped. Looking at everything together, critics point to a series of controversies that they believe form a larger pattern. They cite Vicstar's account of the proposed Sidemen NFT project, KSI's public support of Logan Paul during the CryptoZoo controversy, while many participants were still seeking answers. Criticism surrounding Lunchly's marketing and reports of mold in some products. KSI's decision to step back from the Sidemen, and the later tabloid story that some believe portrayed the group unfairly. Supporters of KSI see these events differently, but together they have fueled an ongoing debate about his priorities. For those critics, the issue isn't any single controversy on its own. They argue it's the repeated appearance of similar themes across very different situations over several years. Whether that's a fair conclusion remains a matter of opinion, but it's the argument that has gained traction among many longtime viewers. That's also why creators like DanTDM and Jacksepticeye are often brought into the conversation. Their criticism was never that creators shouldn't earn money from their work. Both have sold merchandise, worked with sponsors, and built successful businesses around their channels. The distinction, according to their supporters, is that the videos and community always came first, while the business side grew around the content instead of becoming its main purpose. Dan spent years building his audience through Minecraft videos before later releasing a small toy line. Jacksepticeye built his channel with simple gaming videos and a basic webcam, focusing first on entertaining viewers and growing a community that connected with his personality and enthusiasm for creating content. For DanTDM and Jacksepticeye's supporters, the key difference has never been whether creators make money, it's what comes first. In their view, the content should be the main reason people watch, while merchandise, sponsorships, and other business ventures should grow naturally from that audience. Critics argue that some of today's biggest creator brands, including ventures involving KSI, Logan Paul, and MrBeast, reflect a different approach where products and business opportunities play a much larger role in the overall strategy. From that perspective, the videos become more than entertainment. They also serve as a way to introduce products, partnerships, and new revenue streams. Critics have also questioned whether younger audiences are especially affected because they're often the most engaged and the most likely to trust the creators they follow. Supporters of those creators, however, would argue that launching products is a normal part of running a modern media business. That's the distinction many people believe Dan and Jack were trying to highlight in different ways. Jack warned that YouTube's growing focus on scale, competition, and business could change the platform's culture, while Dan called for creators to do better when promoting products to their audiences. Since then, critics have pointed to KSI's later decisions as reinforcing those concerns, arguing that the controversies surrounding him made those earlier warnings feel even more relevant to a growing number of viewers. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like. It really helps the channel grow and lets more people discover this content. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more deep dives into YouTube news, creator controversies, and the biggest stories shaping the platform. Let me know what you think about this situation in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.